All right, guys. I'm an airhead again. I don't ever see that it's 11:30 p.m. whenever I schedule these AM type things. But anyway, it was meant to go off at 11:30 this morning, not tonight. Anyway, so sorry if I have confused anybody. We just have a couple of articles I wanted to cover. Um, we was doing a video on the fly this morning. But we have some other articles to get to. So let's go ahead and get to those. There was an attack this morning on a base in Syria. Well, according to War News 247, there's also been mass attacks on a base in Iraq as well. So we're going to go ahead and cover that this morning. And I want everyone to be praying for our military men and women. And we will have a prayer here shortly after this video. Mass attacks against the U.S. base in Syria and Iraq. 30 Americans injured, and a C-17 transports them to Germany. Biden warns Iran. And you can see this is today. So a C-17 Globemaster, the 3, with a medical evacuation call sign, heads to Ramstein Air Force Base, Germany, to transport wounded American soldiers to Landstuhl Military Hospital. Yesterday, the U.S. Central Command announced that 24 U.S. soldiers were injured on October 18 as a result of a drone attack on the Al Tanf military base in southern eastern Syria. 20 American soldiers were injured in this attack. This was followed by a second drone attack the same night on Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq that wounded 4 American soldiers. Newer information speaks to 30 to 39 wounded American soldiers as attacks by pro-Iranian forces continued until yesterday. Then we have a couple of tweets. Several American troops stationed in the Middle East have reported symptoms of traumatic brain injury following rocket and drone attacks launched by Iran proxies over the past week, U.S. officials say. Politico. Here's aerospace intelligence. U.S. Air Force Base, Globemaster the 3rd, out likely Baghdad with medical evacuation call sign. The transport aircraft is likely heading to Ramstein Air Force Base, Germany. The Pentagon confirms that 30 U.S. soldiers have been wounded in rocket and drone strikes against the U.S. base in Syria and in Iraq in this past week. Biden warned Iran's supreme leader on Wednesday that the U.S. would respond if Iran or its allied proxies attacked U.S. forces stationed in the Middle East. My warning to the Ayatollah was that if he continues to move against these troops, we will respond and he should be prepared. On Monday, General Patrick Ryder told reporters that the U.S. troops at Al-Naf garrison in southern Syria shot down 2 drones targeting their positioners. No soldiers were injured. But Ryder also said Monday that the Pentagon would hold Iran responsible for strikes against U.S. troops, given Iran's past support for these groups. Yeah. So I don't think anything's happened. Don't think anything will happen. I think there's a lot of, big boy talk, but don't think he's going to do anything. That's just part of the go for military. Don't do anything, right? The situation in the Middle East is becoming increasingly tense. Shiite groups in countries neighboring Israel have begun attacking military bases of Israel's main ally, the United States, the day before a series of strikes were carried out against U.S. forces in Syria. According to Mal Adin TV channel, the previous day, pro-Iranian groups in Syria most simultaneously attacked 3 U.S. military bases. And we've covered those 3 bases being attacked. In total, U.S. military targets were attacked 14 times in Iraq and Syria. U.S.-led coalition forces have begun live exercises at a military base in Iraq and Syria. On October 25th, coalition service members began operational ground exercises in or near the Al-Hasqa area in Syria to validate weapon systems and maintain crew proficiency and readiness, the statement said. In addition, the remaining coalition forces will conduct basic defense and operational ground exercises in or near the Khaldalia area in Iraq to validate weapon systems and maintain crew proficiency and readiness. Um, that same morning in Iraq, earlier warning systems indicated a possible threat approaching al-Assad air base, the U.S. spokesperson Thursday during a press briefing. Unfortunately, a U.S. civilian contractor suffered a heart attack while in shelter and died shortly thereafter. Also on October 18th, al-Hahira air base near Erbil and al-Tanaf in Syria were attacked. And this is from the AP. U.S. embassies in Kuwait to limit activity on U.S. military bases after the Iraqi militia's threat. So now we have limited military movement. The U.S. Embassy in Kuwait is acknowledging an Iraqi militia threat to target U.S. military bases in Middle East nation over Israel and airstrikes targeting the Gaza Strip in its war on Hamas. In a statement to the American citizens, the embassy identified the threat as coming from Al-Wali Wadhad al-Haq, or the True Promise Brigade. That group, believed allied with Iran, has claimed an attack previously on the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. As a result, the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait is limiting travel. Anyway, so we had that, but okay, I'm gonna come over here. We're gonna get to this article, but I want to go back to this morning article just to remind you that there was an attack today on the 26th, Thursday morning, in Syria. And this is an article that we covered earlier today. So you can find that article if you'd like to see it in the description of the box of the previous video. But the United States military base at al-Shashad, Syria, is reported to be under heavy missile and rocket attack early Thursday morning. Rockets, alleged missiles, are said to be striking the base reportedly. The U.S. is not supposed to be anywhere inside Syria. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. So we talked about that earlier, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I haven't heard much more about that, and I was curious if anybody else has, but that is the only report so far, minus this one that we just did. Anyway, then we have now this next article about this evacuation in progress from War News 247, guys. I am not going to read all of this, guys. We talked about the 600,000 Americans from the Middle East that they were talking about deploying. Plus, I think it was like 79 or 83,000 or something like that from Lebanon. 86,000. I'm sorry. There are 600,000 American citizens in Israel and another 86,000 believed to be in Lebanon. We've covered this already. That's not what I want to show you out of this article. We're going to come down here just a little bit. Okay, so because this one is I want to talk about the evacuation stuff that's taking place or that could take place, and I don't know how they think they're going to get out 600,000 plus Americans when what was the crisis? Hi guys. What was the crisis that was going on in what was it, Afghanistan, when we had to leave behind all that equipment and we had left people? So what was up with that? How many people did we leave behind there? I'm just saying. Hello, we are in the last days. How are you? Hi, Carol. Hello, Helen. MG. How are you guys? Yeah, I don't know. And it does. It's getting worse than Afghanistan, obviously. I mean, this is huge. But Carol, do you remember how many people we left? Let's see if we can find an article. Okay, there we go. 9,000 Americans left behind. Okay, so this one here says 7,800. This video here says 9,000. YouTube. See, we'll click on the NBC for that. Safe 78,000. Okay, U.S. left behind 78,000. So there we go. So we couldn't get out 78,000 Afghan allies in a withdrawal when American troops left, right? So we couldn't get out 78,000. Now, granted, these were, clearly not all Americans. There might be some Americans in there, it looks like. But Afghan allies is what it says, right? But we couldn't get out 78,000. In fact, I remember seeing, if you guys don't remember, I remember seeing the horrible pictures of the people chasing down the planes, right? I mean, it was horrible. So how, Pretel, do you think we're going to get 600,000 plus? We're not, 86,000 people in Lebanon. I mean, come on. Like, really? This is really a contingency plan that they really have in play. I don't buy it. I think this is, possible propaganda that it's disgusting to think that they're going to say that they're going to get out 600,000 plus people. Anyways, but this is what they are saying. They are saying that the U.S. is evacuating diplomatic personnel from Iraq, employees of the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, and the U.S. Consulate General in Erbil, as well as their family members that will return home, the State Department said in a statement. Family members and non-emergency government personnel at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and the U.S. Consulate General in Erbil have been instructed to evacuate due to heightened security threats, the directive said. So recently, the State Department allowed the families of diplomats and some diplomatic personnel to leave Lebanon. Americans wishing to leave the country were also urged not to delay their departure due to the unpredictable security situation. Those remaining in the country were advised to prepare emergency plans. On the table is also an option of evacuating the families of American soldiers, mainly from the bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. According to the State Department statement, the embassy is aware of threats made on social media by al-Wadi al-Haq, a military group in Iraq, against U.S. military bases in Kuwait. As a result, the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait limits its activity on U.S. military bases to the essential and official events only. The U.S. citizens are advised to remain vigilant. Now, again, guys, I tell you, how are they going to get all these people out when they couldn't get out 78,000? It's just astounding. Now, I pray they get all these state workers out, all the people there, doing their bidding, doing their callings and all that. Yeah. And there's probably still some people there, right? And it does look like it's going to be way worse, way, way worse. I'll tell you. The French Navy has announced that the FS Tonnerre, a Mistral-class amphibious assault ship, is currently deployed in eastern Mediterranean to join NATO naval forces, including the battle group led by the USS Gerald R. Ford off the coast of Israel. The French Mistral-class helicopter carrier Tonnerre sailed today from the port of Tallinn in the south of France around 1600 hours, 1700 Greek time, according to the French source. It says it has 69 hospital beds and 2 surgical units. The Tonnerre can act as a mobile command and control center and can carry 16 helicopters as well as 60 armored vehicles or 13 Leclerc tanks. I guess that's how you say that. Anyway, so that's a pretty good size carrier, clearly. Main thing I think is there's the hospital, the portable hospitals, right? putting them in play. Well, then we also have this here. It appears the talking is over. U.S. State Department planes leave Tehran, Iran. Um, so here we have two jet aircraft designated State 23 and State 24 have taken off Tehran, Iran. It appears the talking is over. The aircraft named State 23 flew to Amman, Jordan here. The second aircraft named State 24 is still in the air and writing of this story. Meanwhile, the Iran foreign ministers arrived back at the United Nations in New York City for urgent talks regarding Gaza. The situation with Gaza Strip is at the breaking point diplomatically. At the United Nations Security Council meeting, a heated exchange of words took place between the ambassadors of Russia, China, and Israel yesterday. Israeli ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan, in the Security Council. How would Moscow react if terrorist squads wiped out the entire neighborhood in Moscow? How would Beijing react if terrorists cut off the heads of their babies? I'll give you a moment to think about that, even though you don't even need a moment. We all know exactly how you would react. The Russian draft does not mention Israel's right to self-defense at all. And would Moscow or Beijing accept the right to self-defense if they were faced with similar threat? I guess so. The Russian ambassador to the UN replied to Jordan. The Israeli representative asked what Russia would do if terrorists attacked Moscow. The answer is that we were subjected to terrorist attacks from the Chechen, who were told in the world that it was not a terrorism, but a national liberation movement. We were told that the Chechens, but we didn't talk to them. We destroyed them. The Russian ambassador added, in our proposed resolution, there is a condemnation of terrorism and an expression of empathy for Israel's situation. We are not asking you not to fight terrorism. We are asking you to fight terrorists and not civilians. Take this into account when you choose to respond to our words in the future. China's ambassador to the UN also replied to Jordan, I did not intend to enter into an argument with Israel. If Israel regards China as an adversary, you have probably chosen the wrong target. Since the beginning of the conflict in Gaza, we have condemned all attacks against civilians, Israelis, and Palestinians. The Chinese ambassador added, I remind you that the last week there was a proposed resolution by Brazil that condemned Hamas. We voted in favor, but the U.S. vetoed it. We do not underestimate the situation in Israel, but we attach the same importance to the situation of the Palestinians. It cannot be denied that for a long time the aspirations of the Palestinians were not met. Let's be fair and stick to the facts. As the draft resolution was defeated, the Russians delegate said, we regret the Security Council's inability to stop the escalation in the region. And then here is Hal's analysis. Diplomats do not generally speak to each other this way in public. To me, it is what actually quite refreshing to see this, folks lay things on the line so candidly. I think the world could use a lot more of such candid, frank talk. It might make things in our world a lot better. No more merely mouth dancing around issues, real talk. Unfortunately, history shows that by the time diplomats finally start engaging in real talk, it is usually too late. As you read this, all the armies are deployed around the Middle East. Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon are already engaging in skirmishes with Israeli troops along the Israel-Lebanon border. People are dying in those skirmishes. Iran is already deploying long-range missiles and coastal defense along the shores of both Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman. Iraq is massing hundreds of thousands of fighters to help Palestinians. Houthis in Yemen are already firing missiles and launching drones at Israel, but both Saudi Arabia and the U.S. are shooting those down long before they reach Israel. A lot of people realize right now that if and when this kicks off, it's going to be a military bloodbath. I hate to have to say this, but it really must be said. I personally believe that if the regional war breaks out, Israel is highly likely, in my personal view, to be overrun. This isn't, you better do your school. This isn't 1967 when a bunch of Arab countries went piecemeal to war against Israel. This is 2023, and Arabs learned a lot since 1967. Well, guys, if you go look at the 1967 Six-Day War that took place, you will see the hand of God in that battle, and God defended them. And it is absolutely hysterical that nobody wants to address the elephant in the room, that it's God that protects these people. It is the hand of God. And some of those things that happened during that 6-day war were amazing, and there's no way, shape, or form they can deny it. So they can continue to argue that God's hand is not upon these people, but the evidence is in the pudding. And I encourage anyone here to go and I think I'll find the movie. And he is the same today, forever, and will always be. Absolutely. Just gonna say that. Anyway, I'll continue with this article, guys, and then I'll share a movie that if you haven't, it's a documentary, not really a movie, but if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go check it out. They now have large armories of long range and very precise missiles. The troops are in advanced armored vehicles with laser targeting and night vision. Communications are all encrypted. Radar is very much more advanced. Fighter jets are ordered of magnitude better than they were in 67. Frankly, and it pains me to say this, I think Israel will get its clock cleaned. In fact, I think it will be so bad and happen so fast that Israel will be left with no choice but to launch tactical nuclear strikes against several Muslim nations. And if and when that happens, the world will erupt. Now, the U.S. State Department aircraft has departed Iran. It appears the talking has stopped. Historically, when talking stop, war begins. Get right with God. All right, guys. So, that being said, I don't know, guys. I'll tell you, I don't know what is going on here. I can't begin to tell you what they talked about, what they didn't talk about. But I can tell you that God definitely has his hand upon this nation, upon this country. But again, if you go and you read the Bible, Israel does get in trouble. Israel is allowed to fall. So it's only when God removes his hand. Is it that time? If it's that time, everybody better get their stuff in order, because guess what? Soon and very soon, we're going to go see our King. I want to share the 6-day war in our hands. Link. Now, this isn't the movie, guys, so but if you haven't seen this, see if you can rent it. It's really good. Do they show it? They don't show it here. I'll take you back. Hold on. There we go. I gave you the wrong link, guys, in our hands. There we go. Void that link. I'm an airhead. Okay. This is the right link. Okay, so let me share this out, guys. I thought I was sharing it just a second ago, so go figure. All right, so here it is. This is a very amazing documentary. I encourage you all, if you haven't seen it, go watch it in our hands. I have it on my TV. We bought it. I encourage everyone to go and check this out. Go read about the 6-day war. Just you'll be amazed with all the things that how God protected Israel. Period. Anyway. That being said, we're going to continue on, guys. Now, earlier, I had told you about the situation in Maine. Let me see if it's still the #1 article on Fox. Here we go. So it says urgent manhunt underway for the armed suspect after that massacre, leaving 18 dead. Okay, guys. So, I had also made a comment. Where did it go? Here it is. I'd also made a comment about, your constitutional rights to carry, and that, I felt like it was a play on that, and that they would waste no time. Well, goodness sakes, if this wasn't, Biden condemns the tragic Maine, uh, you know, situation and urges the AW ban, right? So, waste no time. Biden on Thursday condemned the senseless and tragic mass thing in Maine, which killed 18 people, and called on rival Republicans to back the ban on high-powered weapons. Well, again, I want to remind everybody, just a little thing. When you take the oath to get into, any office in the Congress, Senate, whatever, when you take the oath, you take an oath to protect the Constitution. When you come against the Constitution, when you try to change the Constitution, when you try to go against what the Constitution is about, you are not protecting or defending it. And in my opinion, that is wrong, and could probably be, and some might think it might even be an act of treason. When you go, they spend millions of dollars all the time to try to come against this second A Constitution. They do. And here we have, again, like I said, wasted no time. Biden didn't, wanting people to come and, ban it. Well, I hate to tell you, but the Second Amendment is part of the Constitution, of which these people swore to defend. So why are we allowing these people to continue to try to erode away the Constitution? I don't know, guys. I don't know, but it is rather absolutely.
Hi. Yes, I'm excited.
Okay. Please don't get crazy.
Yeah, I am going to get crazy.
Oh, hubby's going to get crazy. Crazy alert, guys.
They keep on hollering gun control, gun control, gun control. All right. This guy that supposedly done this up where it's Maryland, Maine, wherever it is.
Maine,
which has the strictest gun laws in the country. They said that he was just in a mental institution. Okay. And they let him out. So instead of going after the guns, you need to go after the daggum doctors that said he was good enough to be let out, and then he went and done this. Quit going after the wrong situation. He was in a mental hospital. They let him out. The doctors should be liable, not the gun.
There you go. So there's hubby's 2 cents, guys. And they have almost no gun laws. I thought they had strict gun laws for some reason. I don't know. But here we go, guys. And that's probably what they're trying to do. They want gun laws everywhere, don't they? They want gun laws everywhere. Okay, so here we go. And Miss Carol agrees with you, honey. Okay, thank you for that insight. So here is the Bill of Rights. I'm going to share this here link. I encourage everyone, if you don't have a book, go get you a book. He said, no, then you'll have doctors locking everybody up, whether they're sane or not. Well, maybe.
Which one, honey?
I know a lady, they locked her up and they took her house away.
The gun companies because a crazy person uses it.
Wow. That's crazy. He's just saying you can't go after crazy people. Okay. What did you say? Repeat it. Tim.
What?
Repeat what you said.
What? You can't go after the gun company, okay, over a crazy person using a gun. It's the doctors that should be liable for letting them out of the. They went to the doctors. That guy was in a nut house, and they let him out.
He's saying only the people that have been in that they're letting out too soon that are not that didn't get well. Okay, I guess is what he's trying to say.
Well,
Watchmen.
look at every one of these ones. They keep on saying that all these people have mental issues. That's done all these mass shootings. Okay, where was the help that they needed before this happened? And then they want to ban guns for crazy people using it. It don't matter if you've been checked out or not. The people who are doing this and doing mass shootings are crazy. They ain't doing it for no other reason, but they're crazy.
Yeah, hearing voices, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to show you guys the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Right there, guys. That's what this is all about. This is all about a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I mean, there is no A, B, C, or D. You can't have this weapon. You can't have that one. You can't have this attachment. You can't have that attachment. It doesn't even say if you're a felon under it. I mean, okay, I'm just pointing out these things. Now, do I agree that there should be some laws? Well, yeah. I think everybody agrees there should be some laws. But again, if it goes against the Constitution, where we have issues, and all of these people continue to come in a direct conflict, and that's against their oath. They swore to uphold it and protect it, not take it and destroy it.
Or change it.
Yeah, they are. What about the doctors themselves that are crazy? Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. I say we need Jesus, guys. I say that's the answer in all of this. That is the answer to all of this. We need Jesus. And we need love. Love, love, love. And I'm sorry that lady lost her house, Watchman, because she just drunk too much. That's crazy. Absolutely. All right, Watchman. You have a blessed day. Be safe, brother. And I get your point, though. I do. I get Watchman's point too. But yes, and I agree. But again, it's not it's about control. They can't control people, too much if they can defend themselves, right? So again, it's about this free state. That's what this is all about. It's about this free state. And so, and when you are coming against this is not, it's unconstitutional, guys. They need to be run out. People that do not uphold this Constitution that they swore to defend and to protect. Defending it and protecting it does not mean tear it down. And if you're tearing it down and taking away from it, you are not doing your job. You need to be out. Just saying. People need to hold people to the fire here, guys. Call your congressmen, call your state senators, call everybody, call whoever you can. Write letters. Tell them to uphold their constitutional oath, guys. That's true, Walter. You got a point. I mean, but I will say, I think that we can all agree that there is a mental health issue, guys. It's just plain and simple. There is a mental health issue that keeps continuously getting brushed under the rug. Nobody really wants to address it. They let people out of the facilities. They don't care. It's like, go do our bidding. And y'all have to remember, guys, most of this is come on. You ain't going to get gun bills if nothing's happening, right? You're not going to get people scared if nothing's happening. So, if people were armed, we would have been taken out early. You mean if they weren't armed, right? I hear you guys. I hear you. Anyway, I'm going to get off here, guys. I got to go. I just wanted to bring you guys these few little articles. I wanted to get my little bitty rant and give you guys that article there, and just let you know that be prepped, be prayed up. To me, that's the best way to be prepped. Pray, pray, pray. Get right with God. Hal Turner does say that in every one of his articles at the end, just about these days. Get right with God. If you're not right with God, please get right with God. You do not know what will happen tomorrow. We don't know, we could go to bed and wake up to complete mayhem in the middle of the night. You just never know. We have to be right. And we need to pray. I want to pray here in a little bit, guys. I'm going to come back here in probably 15 minutes, and we will pray for our men and women over there. When you wake up and the first thing you see is U.S. bases are under attack, and then you see another one that says Syria and Iraq, then you see you've got to make sure you're covering your men, your women, your families in prayer. That's all there is to it. Anyway, I love y'all. I will be praying here in about 15 minutes. I hope you guys will join me back for that prayer, because we really need to lift these people up. It does seem like that, right, Walter? Absolutely. He well thought out, most definitely. Most definitely. Anyway, God bless y'all. Take care, and we'll see those that will pray with us, and we'll stand for our men and women in the military. I know not everybody agrees with everything, but I pray that we can come together and agree on peace and safety. Anyway, God bless y'all, and we will talk later. Bye.